Hey everyone, my name is Dr. Dolores Tarver. I'm a licensed psychologist here in Columbus, Georgia, and it is time for the TT Time with Dr. Tarver is a wellness-based podcast. It is not intended to be a substitute for a relationship with a licensed mental health provider. Welcome back, everybody. We're in this transition season. I'm taking you all on this journey with me to 50. I'm excited about it, and we have been discussing all kinds of transitions. If you joined the live last week, you saw that I had on, I guess, Dr. Sean Cook, who talked about the transitions we experience in our faith journeys. And I told you then that we were going to be looking forward to seeing Brother Lewis York again, who is a repeat return veteran to the show. So excited to have him today. Let me tell you all a little bit about Brother York. He is an Army veteran with 21 years of active Army service. He is the proud husband of Stephanie York, and they have 8 children and 5 grandchildren. He is a graduate of Liberty University with a master's in licensed professional counseling and a member of several great organizations, including Kappa Lambda Chi Military Fraternity Incorporated, the Lambda Dream Academy, serving our veterans and mentoring our youth, and the mission continues. He is also a member of Change Church in DeKalb, and he recently graduated um, the
Uh,
Made Men cohort, 2025 cohort. It was 100 of you all, right, Brother York?
it was actually more than that. It was 1,000. It was 500 that day on Sunday.
No,
Just that Sunday.
how many men were made men graduated in your cohort?
Right. 500 that day, that Sunday.
500 that Sunday graduated.
Right.
Look at
And that's
God,
not
won't he
that's
do it?
not counting New Jersey.
Okay, okay. So we got the brothers out here doing wonderful things.
Mhm.
He is currently a mental health counselor at Transformation Counseling Services in Columbus, Georgia. That is outstanding. It is always a pleasure to see you, Brother York. Thank you for coming on to Tea Time with Dr. Tarver today.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. T. Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely. So I reached out to Brother York. I like to bring in the heavy hitters when I'm going to have a guest on. And Brother York joined me last season as we were discussing divorces, coming through divorces and getting back out into having loving relationships. And he had gotten remarried. And we were talking about the joyful celebration. And I thought, well, who more fitting than to bring back as we talk about transitions than Brother York, who has
Mm,
experienced multiple transitions
yeah.
since we last saw him. So, Brother York, talk to us about the different transitions you've been experiencing since we last saw you.
Oh man. Well, let's start it like this. I'm gonna give you the definition of transition. I like to
Okay,
start it.
let's do it that
That,
way. Let's
that's
do
what I
it that way.
that's what I do in the office. So they always ask me what that means. Well, let's go to Google. Let's find out. So
Operational definition for the
that's
people.
right. That's right. Then we'll break it down.
All right, all right.
So transition is defined as the process or a period of changing from one state or condition to another. Significant change in a person's life that requires adaptation and an input impact their emotional well-being. So that's the overall
Okay.
big picture of transition.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So now when we come talking the street language, what a
Come on.
transition is, transition is still that. It's a process, it's a journey,
Mm-hmm.
um, it's growth, it's dying. Oftentimes when we think about transition, we think about somebody passing from this life onto the next.
Mm-hmm.
When we talk about they transition. But when I look at transition, just a brief look at it, and even in my journeys, this is I'm a preface with it. This I looked at it like the moment that the if I could say it like this, the sperm and the egg come together. That's a transition,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
then from that point to the next stage is a transition,
Mm-hmm.
and then from that point to the fetus is a transition, and then when the child comes out the womb, it's a transition because they're no longer in a bubble of liquid. They now got to
Mm-hmm.
be nose and mouth breathers like the rest of us, um, and they have to learn how to eat with their mouth. So this is what is helping me to learn about how to transition myself,
Mm-hmm.
because you always hear people say this life is trash and the
Mm-hmm.
earth is ghetto. Well,
Mm-hmm.
it's the moment that we enter into this thing, it's
Mm-hmm.
transitional. Everything is transitional. So for me, leaving home in New York was a transition into the
Mm-hmm.
army. a giant transition. Leaving the army into civilian life after 21 years was a shock transition. Getting married while in the military, that was a transition.
Mhm.
Having went through a divorce was its own transition. Um, Moving from one state to another was another transition.
Mhm.
Remarried, another transition. Finding out a diagnosis is another transition. So you're right. I've been through transition after transition after transition
Mhm.
after transition. And so, maybe we could call this chronic transitions, right?
Mhm. I said multiple.
Oh,
It's multiple life
multiple,
transitions.
multiple,
Multiple
multiple.
life transitions. Yeah.
But, but
Mhm.
but it's sometimes we try to look for a pause or a break in it,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
sometimes there's not a
Mhm.
pause or a break in it. I was looking up the different types of transitions, and you got the ones that are scripted, that are easy to and palatable to stomach. Marriage, birth, those type of things, get promotions on job. Those are easy things. So we say, right?
I was about to say now that's questionable. Depends on who you ask.
Right. But
Mhm.
now, based upon the unscripted ones, the ones that we did not script, the ones that
Mhm.
cause us stress,
Mhm.
is death, disease, illness, stillborn baby,
Mhm.
divorce, and all these other things. We seemingly think we're prepared for the easy things, which
Mhm.
come with their own stressors,
They do.
but they're still transitions. And so I sat back and thought about it. What if we look at it all as just transitions? They're neither bad nor good, they're just
Mhm.
transitions. I think about what Paul said, whatever state I'm in, I've learned to be not
Mhm.
complacent, but content.
Mhm.
And so that's the kind of the thought that I use with transitions. So some things that came to mind was how do we navigate and negotiate the complexities of our transitions? How do we navigate them?
Before you
Um,
go there, let's back up
mhm.
because you gave the people a lot.
I know, I
Um,
know, I know.
and so
It's in my soul. It's in
it
my
is.
soul.
I feel and the excitement, and I know
Yeah,
we've been talking about this for a while, and you've been preparing.
yeah.
But I always like to give people smaller chunks so they can digest it a little better.
Okay,
And you said something to me that was meaningful, and I want to sit in it for a little while. And
okay.
essentially, what you said is there are transitions that we planned
Hmm.
and transitions for which we have not planned.
Correct.
And even within those planned transitions, we might experience what go back to that definition of transitions again, how it affects us. Tell the people one more time.
How it affects us.
Mm-hmm.
So from the definition,
Yes.
it's a process or a period
There we go.
of changing from one
Mm-hmm.
state or condition to
Yes.
another. So it's
Yeah,
a
right.
change. It's a
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
change.
And it's
We
a
don't like change.
process.
We don't
And
like changes normally.
and we don't like to sit in processes. We even
Hmm.
talk about sitting in emotions, sitting in grief
Hmm.
spaces, sitting in discomfort of things we don't have control over. That's why I wanted
Hmm.
to live in this for a minute, because I do feel like for people that have gone through multiple transitions, oftentimes we're so busy trying to prepare, plan, problem solve
Hmm.
that we don't actually sit in the transition. And so what will
Hmm.
happen is multiple things will happen and we never actually grieve. We never actually allow ourselves to let it settle into our spirits. We don't give
Hmm.
ourselves an opportunity to process it, to understand it
Hmm.
better by and by, because sometimes things happen and we're confused. We're in that place of uncertainty. And so,
Right.
and you just brought up that faith piece. And I think a lot of times when we're mature in our faith, we can say, let me not lean to my own understanding. However, there are a
Hmm.
lot of times when we're not mature in that faith. And so we're struggling in
Hmm.
those multiple transitions to be able to sit in that process. And so,
Right.
yeah, I heard you getting ready to transition into, I love how I use transition for that segue, how you were getting ready to transition into the emotional effects of all of this. A lot of stuff hits us. Some things I was prepared for, some things I wasn't prepared for, and even in my preparation might not have been prepared for all of the aspects of it. So how
Hmm.
does that sit with us in terms of emotionally? How does it affect us?
Well, one, you're right. We're trying to prepare, and I
Mhm.
guess the main thing is learning that it's good to prepare.
Mhm.
I prepared for something, um, for a transition. but also understanding the realization that there's certain things you can't prepare for.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
um, I think a good example would be I was a veteran, so they prepare us to go to combat. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we do all the things, all the trainings,
Mm-hmm.
and all the war games to prepare for it. So you think that you're ready until you
Mm-hmm.
get dropped off in the desert, and
Mm-hmm.
then it's like, oh snap! And so the brain is like the brain and the body are trying to figure out, oh, this is. But you said, wait a minute, but I prepared for this. And I think I think God does that, allows that to happen because we'll become too cocky,
Mm-hmm.
and it will negate us learning from it. Because in learning there's growth and maturity.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so how does one prepare for it? Well, you don't be so stringent on, well, I thought this, because you hear a lot of people say, I thought this would happen. I thought this would happen. I thought it would go this way. And it could have, but you have to be prepared. What if it doesn't?
Mm-hmm.
I had to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I read up, I resourced, I researched, I did my due diligence, and then after everything, after my treatment, then I was like, but I thought, and I had to go back and say, but I can't outthink the
Mm-hmm.
process. I don't know what the post is going to look like. And so the best thing to do is, like you said, to sit in it, not get stuck in it. I use the other
Mm-hmm.
word. There's two S's: stuck and a sit. But
Mm-hmm.
sit in it. But as you
Mm-hmm.
sit in it, learn from it.
Yeah.
Learn in it, because I don't call it just a process. Transition is also a journey.
It is. It is.
I
And the thing about being
Mhm.
in transition is that you don't know where that journey is going to take you, which I think
Exactly.
is part of why we're uncomfortable in it. And
Hmm.
I do think sometimes, to your point, we're so busy trying to figure it out and trying to dissect it and problem solve it and research it and get all our resources that it doesn't
Hmm.
allow us to sit in that space of being
Hmm.
able to experience that actual journey, wherever it may take us. You mentioned a lot
Hmm.
of things. You talked about like, hey, you a health issue may come up, something you didn't plan for, something you didn't
Right.
expect that requires me to have some treatment.
Hmm.
That I have to sit down and process information about and make a decision about how I want to move forward potentially with a treatment. You
Hmm.
mentioned stillbirth earlier. We prepared for this child. We planned for this child. We
Right.
prayed for this child. This child is born, however they're born, and they're stillborn. And
Hmm.
so then the grieving the loss of what does that mean for me when I had this child, I got to experience that life um, temporarily, and now I'm in this place of grieving before I even get a chance to formally meet you,
Right.
and
Right.
dealing with the effects of that, even though I did plan for
Hmm.
that. And I went to the right doctors and I got all the good care um and my spouse and I we were going to the classes and learning all of these things. But the outcome was not one that we prepared
Right.
for. Talk about that journey because you mentioned the military, joining the military,
Hmm.
getting married, getting divorced, getting remarried. So talk about those spaces of the uncertainty and emotionally how that affects you when you have planned but the
Hmm.
outcome doesn't turn out the way that you thought it might.
So the military, I didn't plan to get out the military. I
Mm,
planned to be, like the old cadence says, box me up and ship me home. I was
mm,
going to, get out at a ripe old age, but uh, physical ailments and all that kind of forced my hand to make a decision,
mhm,
because I wasn't at my capacity to do the things I need to do for the Army, for my rank and stature. And so that was a transition for me. It affected me emotionally. I remember going to my retirement and driving by myself and kind of feeling the tears well up, because
mm,
now I've lost community. I felt like I
mm,
lost community. I have lost something. Something was being taken away from me. What do I do now? Because all I've known from a young adult till then was military. And then,
mhm,
with marriage, and then at the point of divorce, I just knew we were gonna grow old together,
mhm,
or race wheelchairs or something together.
mhm, mhm,
And so dealing with that was a lot of rocky road. It was anxiety, it was
mhm,
depression, it was
mhm,
confusion. It was shame. It was
Mm-hmm.
embarrassment.
Mm,
It
mm-hmm.
was a lot of things going on all at once. If you could think of all your emotions in a gumbo pot
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
it's boiling,
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
it's already in a pot together, trying to vie for who's in charge. But then
Mm-hmm.
you got heat under it, just causing it to boil,
Mm-hmm.
um, and that was happening.
Yeah.
Um, then I found, discovered my wife now, and that was it wasn't a turbulent thing, but I was still going through transitions with that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so trying to keep that and work on that, not keep it at bay, but work on that at the
Mm-hmm.
same time as working on life.
Mm-hmm.
And we just hit a year this year. Um,
Congratulations.
thank you. And right before that, finding out, oh, by the way, you've got cancer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay, God, this is gotta be
Mm-hmm.
one of your best jokes here. It's gotta be, you know,
When I think I got it together, it's
when I
finally.
when, when I get a do-over, when I get it right this
Mm-hmm.
time, then this
Mm-hmm.
happens.
Yeah.
Um, and it's not like the signs for something wasn't there already,
Mm-hmm.
but I never knew it would. Notice what I said. I
Mm.
never
I
knew
never
or
knew.
thought it
Mm-hmm.
would be
Mm-hmm.
this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so this happened, and so it's a transition within it. And then I'm in a blended family,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
that's still a transition.
Mm-hmm.
So is learning how to manage the transitions. The first
Mm-hmm.
thing when you talk about emotions is just saying, "Yeah, I'm hurt. Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't, this is how I feel. I feel depressed."
Mm-hmm.
Having that self awareness of where
Mm-hmm.
you're at is not a weakness.
No.
I tell people all the time,
Mm-hmm.
your super strength is being aware and transparent that you're feeling a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Mm-hmm.
let's sit in it and kind of dissect it and look at what is that. Don't stay stuck there. So that's what I
Yeah.
found myself in. Um, and even with that, I had to find a group of friends. I had to find
Mm-hmm.
what I call a Job's campfire group.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know, not the bad ones, but some good ones at the
Mm-hmm.
campfire, and just be able to talk about it,
Yeah.
talk about the transitions. Sometimes when you hear other stories and their
Mm-hmm.
transitions,
Mm-hmm.
it strengthens you in your transition, in your journey, in your process, in your growth. And I'm still going through that now. Still going through the
Yeah.
transition.
Still getting that support. I
Yeah.
heard you mention a few things that I think are important to revisit, and one
Mhm.
is the loss of identity.
Yeah.
Because by virtue of the definition of a transition, there is a process in which there are
Mhm.
things that are going to change.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so if things around us are changing, of course, it means that we're changing as well. And so it
Mhm.
means our identity, what maybe we had prior to that transition, is going to
Mhm.
look different. You use the military as an example. I didn't plan to retire.
Right.
I thought, hey, y'all gonna be taking me on out of here.
Mhm.
Right. And
Mhm.
so when that changed, then my identity as this active duty service member is
Mhm.
now different. How I saw perhaps my future,
Mhm.
my career path, maybe what I aspired to do while I was in the military, that
Right.
shifted. And so talk about dealing with that loss of an identity. Going through a divorce is another example.
Mm. That's good. That's good. Yeah, you got me at the belly button on that one. But it's real because it does challenge our identities. For
Mhm,
me, the military was my identity. I wasn't Louis York. I was Sergeant First Class.
mm,
My identity was wrapped up in that, and we don't have enough time to talk about that. That happened in childhood development, the identity
mhm,
issue. But it
mhm,
just so happened that the Army gave me and stamped me with identity, and I didn't realize, I'm more than that. So that
mhm,
was identity. Being a husband and no
mhm,
longer being a husband
mhm.
was an identity, right? When your children leave home and you're the parent, when they leave home, there's a loss of identity almost.
Yeah. Mhm,
Um, and then even with sickness and disease, it feels like a loss of identity.
mhm,
I was looked at to be the strong one, the one
mhm,
that hey, if anybody could take this heavy trash can out, it's you. And
Mm-hmm.
now it seems like you lost. You're no longer that.
Mm-hmm.
I think the perspective I'm gaining now is um, my identity cannot be wrapped up in those things and those
Speak
roles.
on it. Speak on it.
My identity has to be in who I am internally.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's so weird that transitions affect every part of who we are:
Absolutely.
spirituality,
Mm-hmm.
physical,
Mm-hmm.
biological, every part,
Financial. Mm-hmm.
financial. And it just so happens that mentally and emotionally, my identity was wrapped up in this. Oh my God, I got cancer. That means I'm less than a
Mm-hmm.
man, less
Mm-hmm.
than this, less
Mm-hmm.
than what I'm looked at. But
Mm-hmm.
but but it's like like the prophet told somebody in the Bible. He said, "Who told you that?"
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
it's really you telling you that, because your identity
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily change. Now, the things your capacity to do certain things,
Mm-hmm.
to, let's say, travel, let's say lift, let's
Mm-hmm.
say, be able to run and do those will change. They're going to change anyway with age.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But your identity,
Mm-hmm.
you have to maintain that, and it's so important to have that spiritual understanding to gain an
Mm-hmm.
identity, so that in times of transition, you maintain who you are.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Because I
that's
think,
real. That's
yeah,
real right there. That
yeah,
that
yeah,
foundation. If you don't have that
yeah,
foundation, then
yeah,
whenever you hit a transition, you're gonna be like paper flapping in the wind, whichever way the wind blows, you're gonna be blowing, which is why I think
exactly.
to your point emotionally, like sometimes we're embarrassed.
Hmm.
We're ashamed, we feel scattered, we feel lost, we feel
Hmm.
confused, we feel uncertain because the foundation I had built was built upon what I could do and
Hmm.
what my title was, and what
Right,
my connection to something was, whether it was a
right.
connection to a person or to a job or to a identity, a title, a position.
Hmm.
So when I lose that, then I lose me.
Right. And that is, I think, the most critical part in transition, that you don't lose is you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The transition comes really, the negative part of that comes to try to take that away. Because if you lose who you are, then 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 it's almost like a death.
Mm-hmm. It
It is.
is. It
It
is a
is.
death. Yeah, it is a
Right.
death. Yeah.
But when we maintain who we are, we can just hold on to that, be anchored in our identity.
Mm-hmm.
That will keep us in the storm. So it's a maturing. Now it becomes a maturing,
Mm-hmm.
becomes a journey. And watch this, at the end, it becomes my testimony.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Mm-hmm.
and not my sentence.
Mm-hmm.
I know when I
Oh,
got
that's
diagnosed,
good.
I,
That's
I
good.
I said, "Oh, I don't blame God. I don't blame God." That's the first thing we do, is we lie to
Mm-hmm.
ourselves.
We lying. Yes, I do. I'm mad at you, God. I
Yeah,
am. I'm
and I
upset.
was.
Like, why would you do this to me?
Right.
Hmm.
Or you healed others.
Right.
Right. But
Why
but
did
then
why didn't you
but
heal me? Or
right.
you saved others,
Right.
but you
Right.
didn't save me.
Right. From whatever disease, the
Mm-hmm.
stillborn, the divorce,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
then you have to. But really, when you sit down and understand who and whose you are, then the only question we should be asking, or learn to ask, is, okay, God, what is it? What lesson do you have for me in this?
Mm-hmm.
What is the lesson in this?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because it's a transition. I'm still here. I'm still breathing. I'm still moving. What is it that I'm supposed to learn in this transition? Because like the definition said, it's moving. It's a process of changing from one thing to another. So we can either let it diminish us,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
or it could build us up in our most holy faith.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what I've chose to do with it. And you have to be honest with yourself. When they come like they've been coming for me, is one after another, is just breathing through it.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
breathe through
That part, like actual breath, like
it. Yeah, yeah.
taking the time to feel and be present and sit. It's
Mm-hmm.
tough for us, I think, to sit in moments, particularly those
Yeah,
that are uncomfortable, and being in transition is uncomfortable spaces. And so
yeah.
it is our natural inclination as you mentioned, to be dismissive of it, to push it down,
Yeah.
to avoid it, to distract ourselves, to maybe
Mhm.
use some things to numb it, to escape
Mhm.
from it instead of actually sitting in it, because the sitting in it, as uncomfortable as that is the
Mhm.
only way that you're going to truly be able to navigate through the process. Like you said, how am I going to be able to learn and understand this
Mhm.
journey if I don't allow myself to sit in it? And all of it's prickly, sad, heartbreaking, anxiety provoking,
Mhm.
frustrating, grief
Mhm.
stricken moments. Like I have to sit in that honesty, like you said, with myself, because we will lie. I'll say I'm okay. I'll say I'm not upset about it. I'll say it's a part of God's plan. No, and I don't believe any of that. I don't believe that in that moment. Now, in my growth,
Mhm.
in my maturity, I may be able to get there, but most of us aren't there right away. I don't think anybody has celebrated having cancer. I don't think
Right.
anybody has celebrated the ending of a loving marriage that ended up going in a direction they didn't expect when they got married to the person, losing
Right.
a child. Nobody is
Right.
like, to God be the glory for that. When you first
Mhm.
experience that, you're in anguish.
Yeah. It's a shock.
Absolutely.
It's meant to
Absolutely.
make you unstable. I love
Right.
what my pastor says.
Mm-hmm.
He talks about the first way, second way, third way. The
Mm-hmm.
second way is spirituality. So first thing we say, I'm blessed and highly favored of the Lord, and the devil is under my feet,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
that is all true.
Mm-hmm.
Third way is king way, he says,
Yeah.
and that is acknowledging, yeah, this
Mm-hmm.
hurts, man, this
Yeah,
sucks,
absolutely.
but I know my God is greater.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This sucks.
Mm-hmm.
So now my prayer will really be in faith when I say, God, strengthen me
Mm,
in this journey,
my God.
versus me lying to myself to try,
Mm-hmm.
like I'm trying to tell others, and they see
Yeah.
right through it
They seeing all through that. They like, you bleeding all over me right now.
all over. And just
Mm-hmm.
be honest, and it makes the transition easier. Not
Yeah.
that it's easy, but
Yeah.
it makes it easier to navigate. I love what you said about sitting in it,
Mm-hmm.
because to sit in it,
Mm-hmm.
now you get to inspect it. You ever
Mm-hmm.
you ever drove your car, and then one day you let somebody drive your car, and you be like, where that building come from? And the driver said, that building been there for 9, 10 years.
Right.
So when you sit in it, you get to see things that you thought were
Yeah.
so small, but those
Yeah.
great things. It's almost like the
Yeah.
prophet.
Mm-hmm.
God said, no, I don't come in this. I'm coming in a still voice,
Mm-hmm.
because you sat there
Mm-hmm.
long enough for me to
Mm-hmm.
talk. We're too busy trying to be distracted from it and keep
Mm-hmm.
busy. And I,
Mm-hmm.
I do have my moments when I do that. But then I'm learning now to be able to stop and sit
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and not talk, but allow God to talk.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
he's transition again is going from one point to another.
Right.
I don't know how to navigate that.
Not on my own.
I don't have the compass
Mm-hmm.
nor the map, but
Mm-hmm.
I know one
Mm-hmm.
that does.
Absolutely.
And so I hope
Absolutely.
whoever's hearing this transition, embrace it. Don't become
Mm-hmm.
complacent with it, but embrace it.
Yeah.
It's not the end. It's a
Yeah.
journey. It's
Mm-hmm.
a journey.
And again, it's going to be a new beginning, because the
Mhm.
transition means that whatever was will be new. This will be
Right,
different, and I don't know
right.
what that new is going to look like for me. It may be having to adjust to some different types of ways of looking at the world. I like to your example. I
Hmm.
might have been used to looking at the world through my own eyes, but
Hmm.
but if I lose that, I can still experience the world. It just will be in different ways.
Right.
If I, am used to being able to walk, and I lose that, I can still go places and have a
Mhm.
journey, but it might look a little different. I may have had a partner with me that
Hmm.
was in a journey for a long time, and now
Hmm.
they're no longer there. That doesn't mean I stop moving and I stop going on a journey. It's just going to look a little different, because my
Right.
partner may not necessarily be the same as where I started. So I do
Right.
think that's an important part of this, is in this transitional phase of recognizing that I have to adjust to having a new identity,
Hmm.
and that identity isn't based on what I have, but who I am.
Right.
And two, that I may have to change my perspective around how
Definitely.
I was navigating previously, because
Hmm.
that may look different depending on what type of transition it is. And in order for me to be
Hmm.
able to look at things different, that means I have to sit in understanding what they were
Hmm.
and how I'm going to be different when they're not the same.
Right.
What I'm hearing you talk about is coping strategies, right?
That's it. That's real.
So
That's
so
all it is.
so so talk to the people about when you're hit with a lot of different things at one time
Mhm.
and you're in that emotional place and struggling and trying to figure it out. Like, what are some ways to kind of navigate that journey?
Okay. So I'm gonna be spiritually led. I'm gonna say prayer and reading the word, and those are great.
Mm-hmm.
But what I found is I find books that speak encouragement that
Mm-hmm.
impact my soul.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if I can name some names like Jason Wilson's books, our pastor has books. I
Mm-hmm.
find books that are going to feed my spirit, feed my
Mm-hmm.
soul, feed
Mm-hmm.
me, encourage me. I take time and sit off to myself. I
Mm-hmm.
go now because of everything. I'm starting to be able to go walking. So
Yeah.
I find myself getting back. I won't be able to do the 8, 9 miles no more. But
Mm-hmm.
if I could just
You ain't got
walk
to put
that,
us to shame like that. Okay. All right. Okay.
no, well, I'm but if I could just do a half a mile, just
Yes.
walking
Mm-hmm.
to get that
Mm-hmm.
the blood going, get the endorphins going. Find a hobby, something that
Mm-hmm.
you like to do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a puzzle,
Mm-hmm.
doing some type of uh, little knick-knack stuff,
Mm-hmm.
building things.
Mm-hmm.
Find
Mm-hmm.
something to do. In transition, I think the best thing, and I didn't do it, um, and I like what you said, is dependent upon what that transition is.
Mm-hmm.
Find yourself. Now, I'm a counselor, but my counselor told me
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
find a battle buddy. And,
Mm-hmm.
and a battle buddy in the military is somebody that's got your, what we call our six.
Mm-hmm.
But but a battle buddy has to be somebody that's familiar with you, with
Mm-hmm.
that thing. So I had friends, but a lot of them not familiar with my transition point
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
for that point. And so I have to find somebody that's going through the cancer, that's going
Mm-hmm.
through this. I have to find somebody that's going through the death of a child. I have to find
Mm-hmm.
somebody that's going through, the stillborn. I have to
Mm-hmm.
find somebody that's gone through the divorce.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
not just anybody, but somebody that is seasoned and it can speak life into me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's important to find people like that.
Yeah.
Don't just shut yourself in. Um, it's easy to isolate. Trust me.
Yeah.
It's easy to isolate.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the worst thing because when you isolate, this is the mental part, you got all this stuff happening and all these voices and all these things that are happening and you can't control them. But when you're sitting with a friend
Mm-hmm.
and you're doing outings together, fishing or just walking together, just sitting on the front
Mm-hmm.
porch together
Mm-hmm.
talking,
Mm-hmm.
those are the things I think are healthy whilst you're going through this transition, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Um, and it's going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be
Mm-hmm.
okay. But those are the things that
Yeah.
I found to do.
Okay. I like
Yeah.
that because you have variety and I always tell people that what worked for one person doesn't
Mhm.
necessarily mean it'll work for you. And that doesn't mean you're broken and that there isn't
Right.
going to be, as you said, like it's gonna be all right. Like we're gonna be able to work through the transition. Maybe not in the time that you want it and maybe not the
Right.
way that you want it, because I think sometimes we feel like, all right, I'm gonna give it X amount of time and that's gonna be it. And whatever ain't dealt with, I got to move on. And you don't allow yourself to truly be able to navigate what is going to be a, like you said, a process. But you mentioned a good number of things. So books, I do think is really important. It's funny that you say that because I have um, on my desk right now, Neil T. Anderson, Victory Over the
Hmm.
Darkness,
Hmm.
Recognizing the Power of Your Identity in Christ. So boom, boom, boom.
Oh
Y'all can
yeah.
see that. Yeah, right. And I do think at any given point, it's important for us to have something that speaks to the transitional space that we're in.
Right.
Because
Exactly.
as you said, those cognitions, we start thinking, my mama used to say, you think long, you think wrong. You start thinking by yourself, closed off from other people, and only there in the depths of your mind. And
Stinking thinking.
listen, stinking thinking is real
Mhm.
reckless. It's an opportunity because you're vulnerable for things
Mhm.
to creep in there that are
Mhm.
deceptive. They're not accurate, but they will feel like they're accurate and real, and it will alter your perception. It'll alter your ability to be able to navigate being in a transitional space, and it will encourage you to do things that oftentimes are destructive or keep you in depressed and anxious spaces. And
Mhm.
so when you're reading things that are encouraging, that allow you to be able to have hope, that's one of the most powerful tools that you can
Yeah.
have over your transition, is that hope that I don't know what place I'll end up in, but
Right.
I know that I won't be in this place.
Right. Exactly. Right. And that's good because you're honest with yourself. You're saying, I don't know where I'm gonna be, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
not gonna be in this place. And you know what?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna sit here because if it has to be a demise, at least let me live a life full
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
not be stuck. So, I think sometimes we get stuck and sit confused.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm just sitting in it. No, you're stuck. You can tell when you're
Yeah.
stuck.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're sitting in it, you're like Joseph. You're devising a plan.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Joseph
Mm-hmm.
was in the pit, but he was devising a plan. He
Mm-hmm.
was in constant communication with God.
Mm-hmm.
He
Mm-hmm.
wasn't blaming himself, and he was preparing himself for the release out of the pit. And that's where we should be, preparing yourself through this journey because it's a journey, regardless. It's a transition. Um, but you got to acknowledge your emotional state, your mental state, and
Mm-hmm.
your spiritual state in all of this, because they matter.
They
Those things
do.
matter.
They do. And I definitely feel like, to your point um earlier about your battle buddy, right? So,
Hmm.
we often times do isolate, as you said, like, right?
Hmm.
Because one, I I think the first thing you do is you close yourself off because you're so emotionally raw. And so
Yes.
you're like, I don't want to talk to nobody about it. Like, I found out I
Hmm.
got this diagnosis. I'm dealing with the loss of a loved one. I lost my
Hmm.
job. Um, right. And so because we have these identities that are wrapped up in these things,
Hmm.
when that shifts, that changes, then I haven't even navigated through it myself. So I'm not in a position to talk to people about it. And we feel like
Hmm.
because of that, then like I just need to sit over here. But what
Hmm.
that does is it, in addition to isolating you, it does not allow you to be able to get that support in that transition, which challenges those negative thoughts. Right. Like
Right.
one of the things shame loves for you not to talk to anybody.
Hmm.
It wants you to be isolated because then it can have you all to itself.
Right.
Embarrassment is you. I love how you said there's a difference between being stuck and being still.
Hmm. Hmm.
So
Hmm.
talk a little bit more about. I saw you were getting ready to go somewhere.
Well, what I want to say is what I've learned in this, and I had to reflect back because sometimes we get that what my pastor called that spiritual amnesia, right? We'll forget what he
Mm,
did before.
come on now.
Is that even in this, it's a process. So you're still kind of tender and you're still trying to go through it. But when we isolate and we don't want to be around other people, we don't
Mm,
realize that what is meant for us to be broken,
mm-hmm,
unbeknownst to us, we go around somebody else, it's that healing point for them.
mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm,
and it's happened to me since I got diagnosed. Get around people like, bro, I don't know what I would have done then. Or one guy, my God, one guy I talked to at our church, he's a veteran, and by talking to him, he hadn't been to the VA to see any health doctor
mm,
in years, but he immediately went
mm-hmm.
talking to
Because
me. And
that brought like, oh,
right,
okay,
right,
brought it
and it
to his
wasn't
awareness.
right, and it wasn't so
Mm-hmm,
much out of fear as much as it was out of I owe this to myself, I owe this
mm-hmm.
to my family
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
to
yeah.
do the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
And,
So I
and
can be around.
right,
Mm-hmm,
and so I look at it, I say, okay, God, I don't like it because if I was
mm-hmm,
in a meeting with you, I probably would have. had another idea for this.
Right, we could have done this another way, God. We ain't
Right,
had to. We ain't had to
right,
go this particular
right.
path.
But I appreciate God because He allowed me to be before people, and the thing that I'm ashamed of or embarrassed
Hmm.
of now becomes a place where other people can say, you know what, you made
Hmm.
me more aware.
Hmm.
You know what,
Hmm.
I was about to not do anything about this thing, but now I see you going through it. I know I
Hmm.
can make it through.
Hmm.
So
That's it. That's it.
that is real powerful.
Yeah, people are liking that. The understanding the difference between kind of sitting in it and getting
Mhm.
stuck in it.
Yeah.
I do think, as you talk about the importance of who you're around, because that battle buddy, right, is a battle buddy because, as you said, they have the capacity to be able to hear and sit
Mhm.
and be in this process, and they realize they don't have to fix it. That's not their role, but they
Mhm.
support me in that, and they can help me understand and problem solve and encourage. And I think a lot of times people are going to folks when they're in transition that aren't necessarily in healthy spaces. And so
Yeah.
then this person is feeding some some unhealthy in you. It's allowing, because whatever you feed will grow. So they are
Yeah.
fertilizing these negative thoughts, or they're fertilizing
Mhm.
destructive thoughts, or they're fertilizing confusion,
Mhm.
or they're causing you to lose sight of where you need to be in your journey, and now they've made it about them. And so
Right.
I'm hearing you say the choosing process is very important when you're identifying that battle buddy for your coping skills.
I stayed quiet for a while when I got diagnosed, and the main reason was because the hurt, the pain, the shame,
Hmm.
all of
Hmm.
that. But then I said, I thank God for my wife and family because they were there, they hands down. But sometimes you want somebody that's familiar with what you're
Hmm.
going through.
Hmm.
And it took me a little bit. I let some people know just enough, just
Hmm.
because I didn't want to be. I'm not gonna let nobody know.
Hmm.
But I had to let others know that I knew that were going to sit by me,
Hmm.
that were going to be able to understand what I'm going through. Still haven't, I found maybe one or two guys that I know that have actually gone through the same thing I went through. And they encouraged me. I was
Hmm.
like, but bro, I don't know if I want to, man, look, bro, and one of them happened to be younger than me. And so it was encouraging. It was like, wow, met another gentleman that I've known. His was like almost 20 years ago. And I called him up one day and I said, bro, I don't know. He said, you good? I said, no, I'm not. I had to be honest. And that was the
Yes,
hardest thing.
absolutely.
I said,
Absolutely.
I'm not good. And we
Hmm.
talked. And he was still encouraging. At 20 years almost.
Hmm.
And he was still, no, bro, you did the best thing. There's nothing else you should have done. That was the
Hmm.
best route that you went, encouraging me.
Hmm.
Because sometimes in your transition, depending on what that transition is, you may think, man, did I make the right decision?
Hmm.
Did because now, it's like everything want to pop up. Oh, you could have done this. Oh, you could have done this. No, you did exactly what you were supposed to do.
Hmm. Yeah.
So embrace the journey.
Embrace the journey.
Yeah, and yeah, that battle buddy is important.
Hmm.
Family is
Hmm.
important. Don't shun family.
Hmm.
And it's hard. It's one thing to say it's hard because you think you're the only one going through it. Um, Physically, yes, you are. Mentally and emotionally, if they're there for you, they're going through it too.
Hmm. Hmm.
And sometimes they can feel it physically too. Um, but they're going through that pain and that suffering right there with you. And so don't shun them. You know, in transitions, we want to shut up, we want to isolate, like we said. That's the moment that with those close people, you open up,
Yeah.
you speak, and you let them know your raw feelings. I'm hurting. I
Hmm.
don't like this,
Hmm.
you know, and they can take it. Trust me, they
Absolutely.
can take it.
They can take it. God can take it too. For
Yeah.
everybody that's trying to
Oh,
navigate
yeah.
that space as well. God
Hmm.
can handle the questions and the feelings that you have, the strong feelings, and
Because they already hear your heart.
I already know, right? So you get to, but to your point, when we let it fester,
Hmm.
then all that's going to do is set up and cause more infection and more illness. Whether it's going to be the dis-ease of our mind or the disease of our bodies. So I
Yeah.
think that it's important, like you said, to release. We, of course, encourage people to do mental health counseling, not
Hmm.
because we're both therapists. Well, I mean, that's part of it, but also because we believe in the work that we do and we utilize
Yeah.
therapy, right? Both of
Yeah.
us,
Yeah.
I'll tell anybody, therapists have therapists. Like,
Oh yeah.
I
I
can't
got a
work
couple of
myself through it.
I got a couple of them.
Right, right, right. Because you recognize that you need different ones for different things,
Yeah.
and so you're understanding the importance of being able to set yourself up to have the
Hmm.
best outcome. I don't know where I'm going, but again,
Right.
I do know that I'm going to get there a little bit easier
Hmm.
if I clear the road first. Let
Right.
me not
Right.
go through every obstacle
Hmm.
that I have to. If I can utilize some people that are like, hey, come this way. I'm
I,
all right. I'm
I
all right
like
with
what
that.
you I like what you use the therapist.
Hmm.
When I went to school, and of course, when you went to school, they told us that the therapist is a helper.
Hmm.
It's the helping profession,
Hmm.
almost like a paracletos. Somebody
Hmm.
stand by your side. I can't necessarily tell you what to do, but I can challenge your thoughts
Right. Right.
on the road, and I can let you know. Well, have you thought about that? And I know with different transitions, say it be death or
Hmm.
disease, I know when I went through mine, that was one of the first people they offered. They said, "Do you have a therapist?"
Mm.
um, Not only before, but during and after, because you're
Hmm.
going to need it. Because, like you said, if I could be a cancer doctor, that doesn't mean that I don't need a therapist
Right.
because I'm a cancer doctor.
Hmm.
No, I still need it. I Just like you said, we're therapists, but we still need that because you
Hmm.
always need somebody kind of like to bounce stuff off of
Yeah.
and somebody to see it with clarity.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
transition is sometimes it's hard to see with clarity. You're
Yeah.
looking out of the eyes of pain,
Hmm.
grief,
Hmm.
loss,
Hmm.
and sometimes you need somebody that's gonna not be harsh with you,
Hmm.
but be there and say, no, that's not a good idea.
Hmm.
You know, and it's important to have that therapist there because they
Yeah.
offer the coping skills,
Hmm.
they offer the techniques and activities that you can do. Um, those are things that we're gonna need to put in our toolkit as we go on this journey.
Hmm.
And our little
Absolutely.
backpack. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I will say that sometimes people will convince themselves that there isn't a person they can talk to.
Right.
And I do think it's important for folks to understand that it absolutely is a person for you to talk to, but it may not necessarily be the people that are your in your most immediate vicinity.
Hmm.
Like you mentioned, I reached out to somebody that, had gone through this 10 years ago.
Hmm.
Right. So being able to navigate that space, and I love how you said sometimes you don't have that clarity in transition because you're emotionally heavy. You're dealing with so many things. And
Hmm.
so when you're looking for that clarity, sometimes that first stop is going to be your faith based leader or your mental health counselor because they'll be able to help you navigate the other stuff. People will
Right.
say, I don't have anybody, and I'll go walk them through some folks, and they'll be like, oh, I didn't even think about that person. I'm like,
I didn't think about that person because
mm-hmm.
we don't allow ourselves, and transition is so real. We don't
It
allow
is.
ourselves to think outside of the box
Mm-hmm.
of the hole that we're in.
Mm-hmm.
It's a woe is me. And I felt, I'm being real on this.
Absolutely.
I felt the same way.
Absolutely.
Woe is
Yeah.
me. Woe is me.
Mm-hmm.
This is the end of my days
Oh
and
yeah. Won't
all
you beat
that.
yourself up about it? You'll be like,
Yeah,
well,
yeah. And then you
it's
can't see
the end.
nothing. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but you can't see your help is right in
Mm,
front of you,
mm-mm. Right there. Yeah.
right there. And so we have to almost keep an open mind that
Mm-hmm.
there's somebody out there for us.
Yeah.
God has not allowed us to go
Mm-hmm.
through these transitional moments in life
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
not have somebody to go with us.
Right. Absolutely.
There's
Absolutely.
somebody for us. There's
It
somebody,
is. Oh, there's always someone
right,
who can
to
help you
pour
navigate
into
that
us.
journey. That's absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's just a matter of, and again, that's what you said, the stinking thinking, right? It'll
Mhm.
cause you
Mhm.
to not be able to see that
Yeah.
clearly, which is why
Nobody
it's important for us
cares.
to open up. When you
Mhm.
open up, that's usually what allows you some space when I let some
Right.
stuff go, I got some space to now be like, oh yeah, wait a minute, I do have some people.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
And they get out of that thought process of
Absolutely.
that narrative of nobody cares,
Right.
nobody understands.
Right.
And some people may not understand to the degree
Mm.
that you do, but truth be told, you really don't understand what you're going.
Talk about it.
You know it hurts.
Talk
I
about it.
know
Mm-hmm.
it sucks. I
Mm-hmm.
know I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
be here, but I
Mm-hmm.
really don't fully understand it. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
Mm-hmm.
okay. That's okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So if you think about some parting words for
Mhm.
people who may be in spaces of transition, because most oftentimes we're either going into one, in the middle of one, or on that side of trying to figure out the identity around
Mhm.
one that just
Mhm.
happened. So
Mhm.
what would be your parting words that you would want to leave with somebody? Those, if you don't hear anything else I said, hear this kind of words, what would they be?
I would say this: if you are a person of faith, hold on, let your faith be anchored in Christ.
Mhm.
And that's just not a pretty cliche to say, but the transitions come to test that. They come to test that. Um, find yourself somebody that can speak faith into you as well, or impact your faith, or help you to maintain that fire of your faith. Somebody that can speak life when you don't even want to talk about life anymore.
Mm, mm,
Find that person, and don't be scared to call them up. Don't be scared to talk to them. Don't be scared to be transparent. And as we would say, emotionally and mentally naked with them and let
mm,
them know this is where I'm at.
mhm,
Because what you don't want is something that is those feelings to fester, like you said. And now we find out you're doing something that is so negative that we can't even get to you now.
mhm,
Um, Parting words. Transition is not the end.
mm,
Is not the end. In I'm even a woman that I met years ago. She went to our church and she was on her bed of transition, and she let us know on her bed of transition. She was praying for us in the room,
mm,
letting us know that my transition is not the end. So why are you letting it be the end for you? That's what I pulled out of what she was doing.
mhm,
And I was
mhm,
like, that I've never seen nothing like
mm,
that before. And so transition is not the end. Transition is a growth. Embrace it, learn from it. This wisdom in transition, whether the transition of our own doing,
mhm,
honestly, or the transition is something that just happened upon us. We can learn in it and through it. And don't. I think this is the strongest thing. Don't do it by yourself.
mm,
Don't journey the transition by yourself. It's already feeling like it's lonely in the transition,
mhm.
but to actually choose and decide to do the transition alone, no.
Yeah.
Find somebody. There's somebody there
Mhm,
for you.
mhm.
Yeah.
That's good stuff. Well, Brother York, I want to thank you for joining me again today. I won't tell you this is going to be your last time because I happen to like when you come on.
Yes, ma'am.
And also just for sharing that journey with everyone. I think
Mhm.
whenever we, to your point, share things that we're going through, that we've struggled with, and in the process of it releases other people in their shame. So when we're shedding light on something and we're not letting shame bind us, it releases someone else too. It sets them free. Because
Mhm.
when we can acknowledge I'm struggling, I'm upset, I'm confused, I'm embarrassed, I'm whatever it may be, I'm angry, I'm disappointed, then it allows other people to give voice to things that they're experiencing. And as we share and it releases those shackles, then that's the way we truly heal. Because there isn't the capacity to be able to heal if I'm holding on to it. And so thank you for sharing because
Thank you.
someone, yeah, right? Like someone
Yeah.
needed to be able to hear that because it may allow them to be able to move forward when they were stuck
Yeah.
in where they are in their journeys right now.
And
So
honestly, this was, to be honest with you, this is
mm,
a healing for me
yeah,
because it's a weight off.
hmm
You don't have to carry this alone. It's a weight off. So
yeah,
I thank you.
Absolutely. Always a pleasure.
Yeah.
So everyone, you all, we will be continuing on this series up through mid-October. So we're doing this transition journey together and understanding more about ourselves, being better by and by. And I know that some of you may have some specific things you want covered in this transitional space. So feel free to drop that in here in this journey. And I do think that so a lot of people are making comments about some of the things you said, and they're appreciative of you sharing how important it is to have a variety of things, a pastor, a therapist, the coping skills,
Mhm.
and releasing things. So thank you everyone for your comments. So again, if you have specific things you want to see, then let us know, and I will do my best to get them covered between now and mid-October. So until then, everyone, take care and be well.